time, yeah, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time.
Well, welcome to Tea Time. That's right. And it is Tuesday. So you know what Tuesday means. It's a rescheduled or a surprise tea time. So today's tea time is a rescheduled tea time. We are serving up a transform, evolve, and arise cup of tea. So if you haven't gone over to Miss Liz's YouTube channel, jump on over there and ring that little doorbell and you'll be notified when all these incredible tea times go up. And today we're going to sit back and we're going to have some fun tea times because Miss Liz has a few other little surprises back here for Cynthia. And we have an incredible guest in the back room waiting for us to go and serve some strong tea with all of you guys. You do not have to drink tea on Tea Time with Miss Liz. You can drink water, juice, wine, whatever you're comfortable drinking, as long as you behave yourselves. So let's get the disclaimer out there and then a little bit of bio on Cynthia, and then we're going to serve you a different style of tea. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz, myself is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, may bring forth dialogues and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the giving time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment in taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussions for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It's significant to know that this show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in today's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. And should you decide that this show is not made for you at this time, I respect those wishes and we'll see you at a later show at a later date and time. And again, all Tea Time shows are done on Thursday, 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless it's a Monday or Tuesday, and sometimes a Wednesday, because we've had those. And those are surprise tea times or rescheduled tea times, because Miss Liz just likes to keep the flow moving and that. So now today I have Cynthia Concordia. I think I've said it right. If not, I'm going to get her to fix it. We've been practicing in the back because you know how Miss Liz sucks at names. So I have the beautiful Cynthia in the back. She's retired from the World Bank. Cynthia has had the best opportunities through her life journey to see the value of making a positive impact on others' lives. Now, as she moves to the next chapter of her life, as a life coach, she feels the calling to make a difference by inspiring others and creating awareness to empower people to choose the life they would love to live. With the fulfillment of her purpose, she is now leaving her footprint so the young generation may be inspired and continue to do what we all are doing to make an impact in this world. For her, this is real happiness. Cynthia wants you to live your dreams, welcome each day full of gratitude, saying life is great. So let me get Cynthia in here and let's start spilling some tea with Cynthia. Welcome, Cynthia.
I think I'm mute. Oh, well, hello. Thank you so much for inviting me here, Miss Liz.
Well, and it's a real pleasure because if anyone has been paying attention to Miss Liz has already been on Cynthia's podcast. So we're going to talk about that podcast a little later in the show. But we're doing reverse tables today. So she's at my house now and she's at my table. So we're going to share some transform, evolve, and arise because that's a tea that you gave me. But before we get into that, Cynthia, I want to get into who was Cynthia as a little girl and who is Cynthia now?
Cynthia, as a little girl, I used to be shy. I used to be a warrior. I used to be, yes, scared, always very submissive, always follow what my parents would always tell me. And because that I was raised like that during the time. But now I am now a light warrior always ready to share something for others, and that is my light. Because a lot of people used to be like me, very scared, very shy, very submissive, but actually we have a gift which we can share for other people. That's what I am right now, a light warrior.
And
Hmm.
I love that because this is the reason why we always ask who you are as a younger child, because you were a shy little girl, and now look at you. You're the speaker, you're the motivator, you're the look into dreams. You know? And it's almost like we do the reverse of who we were as a little child, right? We're the quiet little one as a child, and then when we get older, we're that lion, right, with the roar, and we speak up and take that impact.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm so happy, and uh, I feel blessed because I've become the person I am right now. If I if I continue to be the old Cynthia, I don't know what my life would be. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I am actually impacting other people as well. Hmm.
So I see this beautiful logo in the background. It says dream to rise." So do you want to share a little bit about how that came about and how you got that name and all that good stuff?
Yes. Okay. I I'm still overwhelmed, like what you have shared now. I'm still overwhelmed that I am now the founder and CEO of Dream to Rise LLC. That I am now a transformational life coach. I am an international motivational speaker, a published author, a podcaster, and uh, having her own community, a mastermind group. I am blown away by the fact that I was also in my dark bubble. Dark bubble for 6 years because of fear. Fear that I'll be judged. Fear that I was a failure. I would just like to share with you, is it okay, my story? 20,
Hmm.
I've been married for 23 years and we've been blessed with two amazing children. My daughter is now 33 with her own family, and my son, who's 27. I've been subjected to domestic abuse. It started when my daughter was only 5 months old back home in the Philippines. So I convinced my husband to move to the United States to give our children better opportunities and at the same time work on our relationship. However, it turned out to be the other way. He was on two restraining orders. The first one, I initiated the call. Uh, he was given a temporary 72-hour restraining order. 10 years after, he was hitting my son continuously. And actually, it was my daughter who initiated the call, and my son even requested for a 2-year permanent restraining order. That was the impact of his behavior to the family. We were all living in fear, like actually walking on eggshells. So during that 2-year period, I kept on reminding my children, you know what? Your dad still loves you and would still want to connect with you. And it was hard for them to respond to his text messages. But I felt so much joy when they invited him to attend their graduation, college for my daughter and high school for my son. And that means forgiveness is taking place within the family. But after 4 months, I received a call from a police officer saying, Mrs. Concordia, your husband is at the ER at this particular hospital. So I was kind of scared of why what happened, and he wouldn't let me know, wouldn't tell me. So I kept on asking him what was his condition, and finally he told me that he was unconscious. So I immediately called my daughter, who had a lunch appointment, and we were able to go to the hospital both at the same time. And when the ER physician and the head nurse uh, accompanied us to the family room, they told me that Mrs. Concordia, we tried our best to revive your husband. Unfortunately, we were not able to, to we were unsuccessful. So it was like I felt the whole universe was on my chest. It was so heavy, I couldn't breathe. So I asked them to accompany me to the ER, I mean to the trauma room one, to the place where he is placed. While I was walking towards the room, I could see a lifeless body lying on a stainless steel, um, and he has a tube in his mouth. So while I was approaching him, I was asking God, why, why did you let this happen? Because I was hoping that we will get back together as a happy family. But when I saw him, I was really crying, not because he left us, but because he left us without us having any closure, without us communicating, without us forgiving each other. And the worst part was when his family blocked us off from his family, from their
Wow.
family, because they blame me for his death. Up to now, the 10th year, they haven't connected with their grandchildren. And I thought that was the start of me getting stuck in my dark bubble. The guilt that I was carrying, it was a heavy baggage. And I stopped connecting with other people because other common friends even blocked me off. Because I never shared my story.
Yeah.
And I was scared that I'll be judged, that I'll be rejected, that I was a failure as a mom and as a wife. But one time when I was so depressed, and I during that time I felt no value in my life. But one afternoon my son asked me, Mom, will I be going to college? You know what? It was like a slap on my face because I forgot about him. I still have a responsibility for my son. So when I asked him, where would you like to go to college? He asked me, Mom, is it okay to go to Culinary Institute of America? I've heard that school because a lot of famous chefs graduated from that school. But when I did my research, I was shocked by the tuition fee. Well, I just want to share with you, not because I'm bragging. First year was 50,000, second and third year were 60,000 each. As a single earner, as a single mom, where will I get that money? I tried convincing him to change course, to change school, but he was not happy. So when I told him, okay, let's visit CIA, you know what? There was a sudden change on his face. His smile was from ear to ear. He was super excited and he was already visualizing his life there, living in the campus, at the campus along Hudson River in New York. So I told myself the only thing that I can do for my children is to support them. That was the time I created my dream by design. And uh, because most of the time we create our dream by default, wherein we are constricted by our past pains, our traumas, our fears, our limiting beliefs that, oh, I cannot do that. I don't have the money. So when my focus during that time was to let him finish college there so that he may be given the opportunity to create his dream also by design. So I I worked on my four areas, uh, my four domains in my life. That is health and well-being. During that time, my only source of strength was my connection with God, my relationship with God. I was always praying to help me, praying to Him that to give me strength and hope. And then I started working out. I started going to Zumba, wherein I'm grateful that my Zumba instructor projected so much positive energy. And that I was, when I received that energy, I was able to transmit that to other people and they mirrored it back to me. So it helped me in terms of building healthy relationships with my children, my mom, my siblings, and made new connections. That's the second domain of our life, love and relationships. And then on the third domain, my vocation, my career, my purpose. I I used to work for the World Bank as a program assistant, and I've been applying to become an analyst. It's so hard to break the glass ceiling at the World Bank. Suddenly, during that time, HR offered this GE readiness program. GE is the grade level for analysts. I applied. Out of 850 plus who applied worldwide, 25 were declared GE ready, and I was one of them. And then one day, an HR admin contacted me, Cynthia, are you available for an interview? And I gladly accepted. Of course, I've been applying. And I told her, you know what, I can't seem to remember applying for this position. Oh, we didn't post this job to the job board because we just got six from the 25, and I got the position. That was the first manifestation. The second, someone advised me, why won't you downsize? It was hard for me to let go of my old house. I, 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 I listened, took action, sold the house, and moved to a one-bedroom condo from a three-bedroom townhouse. It saved me 50% of my monthly mortgage. Again, another second manifestation wherein I could save for my son's tuition. The third one, someone advised me, Cynthia, why won't you apply for grants and scholarships? I never knew about these resources because I'm not eligible being an employee of an international organization. But I'm glad my son was already a US citizen. So instead of paying 50,000 for his first year's tuition, I only paid 11,000. So it was a big savings again for him, for me to sustain or to let him finish college at CIA. So after he graduated, he was able to work for two Michelin star restaurants, work in Tulum, Mexico, and Australia to gain experience. But due to COVID, had to come back to become a farmer. And I'm so surprised when I asked him, how do you feel becoming a farmer? Because it cut so much from your paycheck. And then he said, since I took up applied food studies, I need background on agriculture. So being a farmer, he came up with activities for children to educate them about basic farming and food systems, and helping moms how to prepare dishes based from the local produce harvested from the farm. So trying to connect the farm and the community so both may benefit. And he's advocating sustainability in the food industry. And then moved to Vermont as a sous chef again in a farm, ranch restaurant, and now in Fresno managing 13 schools, training cooks and administrators to prepare meals for children from scratch rather than serving them processed food. So this is now what he's doing, living his purpose. My daughter, she's a project manager, but at the same time a volunteer firefighter, now turning 10 years because it was the volunteer firefighter who tried to revive her dad when he collapsed on the road. So what have I learned from this journey? I learned to stop the domestic abuse within the family. I've I've I have now learned, or I'm committed to live my purpose so I may be a blessing for others and they may become the best version of themselves. Now I'm committed to inspire and empower others that hey, there's truly light at the end of the tunnel. And now I'm committed to educate those who are struggling that you can truly create the life you love. I consider all my the journey I've gone through, the challenges as blessings. Because without those struggles, I won't be the person I am right now. I usually compare my life before as a Ferris wheel. There are ups and downs, but not anymore. I compare my life now as a roller coaster. Yes, we have our ups and downs, but then leading towards our direction, and that is our dream, our purpose.
Well,
And
Cynthia, go ahead.
and yeah, that's the main reason. Coming from my trauma, I was able to rise up. I was able to evolve, and now doing what I'm doing. There's truly, I mean, you can truly create the dream that you really want to uh, to achieve in a more expansive way. It's just a matter of how how do you really believe in yourself? Do you believe that you can do it? It's all up to you. Yeah.
And as you were sharing your story, I'm listening to you, and as you're sharing the transformation, the manifestation, and all of that, it's the transformation, right? The transform, the evolve, the arising is all in one. And you're sharing the past, the present, and the future of where your children are going, where you're going, where in the fields of breaking the glass ceilings of, if you don't try, you don't know, right? And that's what a dream is if you don't try your dream, you'll never know if it can come true. Um, but I also found something on your website where it says, where it is, are dreams fantasies? So are they fantasies or are they reality? What is a dream, Cynthia?
Well, it's up to you. Before I used to create dream. That's why I mentioned we create our dream by default because of the we are constricted by the fears, past pains, and so on. If you are stuck with those blockages, then it will remain as a fantasy. You won't be able to move forward because you're afraid of what other people would say. Oh, I'm scared that I might fail. I might commit a mistake. Oh, I'm scared that because I don't have the money. I'm scared if I, I did have the money to send my son to school, to that school. But I knew that if it is for his for his future, for him to create his own dream as well, I know he will provide, and nothing is impossible with the Lord. And that's it. And in terms of dream becoming a reality, it's up to you. How will you be able to overcome all those blockages to make it a reality? That's why I always tell others, oh, or we always tell ourselves, I only have a 10-watt bulb. Excuse me, that 10-watt bulb still has a spark of light, and that is your gift. That is your talent. Why won't you change that 10-watt bulb to a 2,000-watt bulb? I don't know if there's a 2,000-watt bulb. I
Well,
don't know.
we can create one, right?
Yes, you can create. That's a dream. But
It was not where we created.
yes. So how can you change that to a 2,000-watt bulb? Overcome all those blockages. How can you overcome all those fears, all those limiting beliefs, you sabotaging yourself? It's just the same as a window. If the window is dirty, full of cobwebs and dust, will you be able to see through the one outside the window? I don't think so. We need to clean the window to have a clearer picture of what is in store for us outside. And those are opportunities. If that is your dream, go out, follow your dream, and take action. Most of the time, it's our fear. All our blockages boils down to fear. That's the problem.
I want to talk to you about self-doubt because that's a big thing for a lot of people, right? Is because we do worry about that judgment and the words of others, right? Oh, well, you can't do that. How is that going to get done? You don't have the education for that. You don't have the funds for that. And then you start to feed this to yourself, right? And you start to back up and back up and back up. It's almost like you're in a group setting and you're just kind of moving away from the group, right?
Yeah.
With the self-doubt. So how do we overcome self-doubt, Cynthia?
You know what? I started, yes, I doubted myself before, but I started with my why, creating my why. Why am I here on this earth? That is the purpose that was given to me, the mission that was given to me by God. I have to discover my purpose. I, my vision is very simple: spread sunshine and happiness to all, so this may create a ripple effect. The only How could we spread sunshine and happiness? Share that kindness, show kindness, compassion, love, and I'm sure peace will prevail here on earth. A lot of in this world, there's a lot of chaos going on. There's a lot of division, wars, and greediness, trying to get that power thing, no? But we're all brothers and sisters here.
Yep.
We are here to support one another, help each other move up and live their life. Someone asked me, Cynthia, how would you define success? And I told them, you know what? Success is not about title. Success is not about the money, the salary, the position you have. For me, success is how are you able to impact other people live the life they love? Are they happy with what they have achieved? Have they discovered meaning in their life? Are they also spreading their light for others? And for me, that's one, sharing, discovering your why. Another one, uh, be surrounded by a group of people who believe or who lift, they lift you up and believe in you. Because if you are surrounded by, well, toxic, toxic people, you won't be able to move forward.
Yep.
I have to distance myself from other common friends who stopped talking to me. Even when I first wrote my book, someone bashed me. Why why do you need to share your story to what will be the impact of this to the other family? But I told her, you know what, my main objective of writing my story is to help those who are still stuck because
Yep.
I was also in that position. I want they deserve the life. Life is great. And I found out that from my experience when I made that decision that I will stand up again for my children and rise up so that my children will be able to experience what life is all about now, making an impact on others. And then another one is all about positive vibration. It's all about your thoughts. I had to change my way of thinking, having this growth mindset. I used to be, oh, I can't do this. I'm only, I'm not rich. I, how can I afford this? A lot of, a lot of, while I was raised probably by my parents, oh, why don't aim so much because we're not rich? It's like be humble. That was the two things that was really fighting in my mind. If if i if i create a dream in a very expansive way, is that being boastful or being I don't think so. There's also humility, but then because you have to work for it,
Yep.
not getting what you want out in an instant by stepping on others' shoes. It's really working hard for it. So uh, try to change that vibration into a positive one, because the more you think about because where your attention goes, but energy flows. So if you focus on negative things, then that will become a reality. If you focus on positive thoughts, then that will become a reality. And it was in this journey wherein I've learned to believe in myself. Um, so that's it. And then be grateful. Be grateful for whatever you have. I don't compare yourself to others because we are all unique. Our lives are different. We were raised differently. We experience struggles differently. So our journey is different from each other. So don't compare ourselves and be grateful for what you have. That's why I always have this journal. What are the at least 5 things to 10, 5 to 10 things that you're grateful for? Because when you focus on gratitude, then you will see this as blessings. And when you feel blessed, then you feel freer, fuller, and abundant in life. And you are able to project this when you interact with other people. And that's how I was able to when I see my friends, even in my Zumba, in my other classes, Cynthia, where are you whenever I'm absent? Where are you? It's different when you're not here. Because well, I am probably I am just crazy, right? Crazy in a positive way, or silly.
Crazy is a good thing. We already talked about this. The word crazy is a good thing, guys. It's not a bad thing. We always look at words and we think it's a negative thing. Um, you know, we're allowed to be crazy once in a while. We're allowed to lose it. We're allowed to have some fun, release. Crazy is like like going to a circus and enjoying yourself, riding that roller coaster and just losing it and
Mhm.
screaming and letting it out. We're not hurting anybody by being a little crazy once in a while.
Yes, and that covers the health and well-being as well. So take care of
Absolutely.
yourself. Self-care is very important. That's why
Yeah.
I started with health and well-being, and then
Well,
it
and
follows.
Cynthia, you mentioned a lot of things. Coming from a home that didn't have a lot of money, and we talked about this when I was on your show as well, right? When we get all these huge opportunities, like getting that job opportunity that you never, that you thought, oh, I never applied for this. How did I get this? Right? These opportunities come to us, and we're just like, well, that's not for me. I can't do that, right? Because the self talk comes right into the self sabotage comes right into us, and it's the upbringing that we might have had. How dare you want more in life? How dare you want to step out? How dare you want to be different? How dare you share your story, right? And sharing our
Mhm.
story is not for attention and seeking and victim playing. It's to share our stories to help another person, to impact somebody who might be living in that situation that says, I can't get out of this. Yes, you can. You know, grab a book, grab it and read my story and see what I've overcome. Our stories are not the same, they're similar, but they also impact lives to give them the courage and bravery to get out of these situations. And that's why stories are shared. It's not so that the other families or our friends or the community can say, oh my God, she's always stuck in her story. We're not stuck in the story. We're on our stories and we're proud of our stories of what we've overcome. And that's what I got when I was on your platform, on your podcast, is what we overcame and sharing the stories and dream to rise. It's a sunshine, and you talked about the sunshine a few minutes ago. Rising, getting up in the morning and just being grateful and saying, where are you taking me today? It might be a bumpy road, it might be a smooth road, or it might be an opportunity day of, oh my God, wasn't expecting this, what do I do? you know um, but and I don't think it's boasting, right? When these big things happen in our lives, we're proud of ourselves. It's called being proud. It's not ego, it's not boasting, it's not, well, I'm better than you. It's I'm proud of what I accomplished,
Mhm.
and we need to get that out there. And that's what I got from you, Cynthia. When I did your podcast, me and you, we had those conversations back and forth, and you really need to check out her podcast because she has some incredible guests on there. So let's talk about the podcast a little bit. So how did that come about, Cynthia?
Well, since it started when someone actually convinced me, why won't you start a podcast? And I was scared again. I started off fear.
Fears in
I don't
everything,
know.
right?
I don't even know how to talk to other people. What if I make a mistake in asking questions or how to facilitate it? But you know what? I started. Of course, I took baby steps. No, I invited guest speakers who are the, like my coach. So I was being guided as well at the same time.
We all need a coach, guys. If you don't have a coach,
Yeah,
I get one. Get a mentor, get a
exactly.
coach, somebody to help you push you.
Exactly. Because if you have a coach, they will really push you to your limit for you to be able to discover your potential.
Yeah.
And now when I did my dream to rise, I know a lot of, even with my book, Dream to Rise book, anthology, my main objective is to share the stories of other people coming from their traumas, rising, evolving, and now impacting other people. I want to empower other people that, hey, you you could be that person as well. You can do that as long as you believe in yourself. If we can do it, then you can do it. So all my guest speakers had very traumatic experiences, from sexual abuse, from alcoholism, from drug abuse, from domestic abuse, a lot, a lot. So I'm just and a lot of people would connect with me. Cynthia, could you could you take me as your guest? And I'm glad that they are after they would love to be a part of this dream to rise, because we are here supporting each other. It's not about me, it's about the people that we're impacting. I'm just an instrument to help other people rise up. And through the stories which you have shared as well, it will make an impact on others' lives. And I'm truly grateful to have you as well, Miss Liz.
Well,
Thank
and that's the thing, right? Is we impact lives that we don't even know we're impacting because you just
you.
never know who's watching you, who's listening to you. When I started podcasting 5 years ago and I started getting people listening to me from different countries, I was like, "Ooh, what am I saying that they really like? Or what are they looking for? What can I give them?" And it was community, it was the connection and
Mm,
the understanding of we all go through stories, we all have overcome stuff, right? And we have that voice that is fighting to be heard sometimes. And there's so much out there, there's so much, the world is so busy, right? So we don't have that time to get everyone's story out there. And that's why we have all these podcasts out there, because there's different flavors and different blends for every table. you
mm.
know we have educational tables, we have gossip tables, we have fashion tables, we have makeup tables, we have celebrity tables, we have all different tables out there.
Uh,
But when we all work together and we all unite together, we can really make a true strong impact together.
exactly.
Um, and that's why I was honored to be on your platform, and I'm honored to have you on my platform, because that's how we show community, right? Is we support one another. Um, and each table is different. When I went to Cynthia's table, her table is a little different than my table. So, I serve tea and she serves dreams. So we both serve different things. But
But we
during
end
you
up on the
sharing,
same thing. We end up on the same thing, right? Impact.
exactly. And during sharing, you're sharing your tea multiple times, transform, evolve, arise through all of the conversation that we're having right now. Your tea is coming all the time. Tea. And I love it when the tea keeps flowing, because that's just how it works, right? Is when we really believe in our why and our purpose and our manifestation and the overcoming in life, our teas are really strong. And you have a beautiful, strong tea. So I'm really honored to have it on my table.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
So,
much.
so now, Cynthia, I want to change it up a little bit. I want to have some fun with you.
Okay.
So I asked you what your favorite color was, and you said blue. I'm wearing blue. You're wearing blue. So let's get into the blue. What's with the blue?
Well, it gives me so much. It calms me when it's blue. For me, I become calmer. That's why when I started chatting with you, I don't feel scared or so what, but I feel so much calm in my life because another thing is it's a little bit dark. It makes me slim.
It calls me right down to sleep. I never looked at blue like that before, that it could put you to sleep. I have trouble sleeping, so maybe I need to put some blue in my room or something. I do have a light blue lampshades in my bedroom, but I have caramel colors. Because I like oranges and blues and all of that. Because my favorite color too is blue and orange.
Uh-huh.
But the colors are playful, right? They help
Mhm,
us. They
mhm,
make us look within ourselves. And for you, right away, it was calmness.
yeah.
So is it the water? Is it the sky? Is it just the flow? Like, what's with the blue?
Actually, yes, I love the ocean. I love the ocean, and you know what? Whenever I take pictures for my storyline, I always take the sky. I take pictures of the sky because it gives me so much hope. It gives me so much peace and calmness because I love to see peace really here on earth.
Yeah.
And I just want, even in our relationships with other people, may peace always prevail. Because when I see people communicate, it's all about ego, instead of us. Instead of me, why not we?
Right?
Something like that.
Well, and that's why I always say we make a difference together. Miss Liz doesn't make a difference on her own. I need all these incredible guests. I need guests like you, Cynthia. I need audience listeners like all of my incredible listeners out there that are tuning in right now. Thank you for that. I do see you, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Uh, you know, uh, Without us working all together, we we can't do it.
Yes.
It's like when we share our stories, that other person has to read that story.
Mhm.
We can write the story, but somebody out there has to read that story.
Yes.
Somebody has to pick up that book.
Exactly. And why are we writing a book or a story? We have our goal. It is to help others, to inspire others. And what is the goal of the reader? To get some lessons learned from the author, from the writer, because they want to improve their life as well. So
And they
that's
also and they also want to share that story and say, you know what, I read this incredible book. You should grab a copy too. And have that flow. It's like tea. When you
yeah.
spill it, you make a mess, right? So when you spill the stories and you share the stories, people want to read the stories and they want to share those stories with another person and another person. And that's how the flow of change happens. And that's how manifestation happens, is when we keep continuing these baby steps and we keep believing in ourselves, even with the fear, because there's fear in everything. Like Cynthia said, there's fear in podcasting, there's fear in speaking, there's fear in writing, there's fear everywhere. But we have to get over that fear and we have to just make that difference and say, you know what, even if I got to crawl, I'm doing this. It
Yes.
might take me 10 years, but I'm going to do it.
Yes.
It might take me 1 year and I'm going to do it. you know and turn your dreams out of fantasy into reality,
Mhm.
and really work them, and really believe in yourself and your why and purpose, because there's so many incredible whys out in the world that we don't even know of, that exist right now as we're speaking. So get it out there. I want to get into a little bit more playtime. So we're going to do, what kind of music do you listen and enjoy?
What kind? I like to the ballads. I um if you'll ask me what is my favorite music, I like very inspiring music, and I I like this music, the song, "The Greatest Love of All"
Oh,
by Whitney
what?
Houston.
Oh, why that song?
Well, this song lets us know that anyone and everyone has an inner beauty that is actually waiting to be unleashed or to be seen. And this beauty is the beauty of loving oneself. That's the greatest love of loving yourself and being confident in one's beliefs and abilities. And the feelings evoked by this quote to listeners are hopefulness, confidence, and optimism. So if you listen to this song, it evokes hope, especially like I believe the children are our future. Yeah. Teach them well and let them lead the way. So we have a role to play here on earth. And that's the reason why we're doing what we're doing, to be a legacy, to, to leave our footprints for our children so they may be able to fulfill their purpose as well in life. So that's the reason why I chose the greatest love of all.
I really like it. I would have never ever thought of that song, Cynthia. When I was been promoting your tea time leading up to today, I found the song "Dream" by Callan Scott, and I put my best suit on and I'm ready to take that walk, right? And that's what I thought of when I thought of you. And it was like, let's put the best suit on and let's just walk it. No matter what our fear is, right? Let's just continue that walk. And that's what you did as a mom. Um, and I want to go back a little bit into the domestic violence a little bit for all the viewers out there. Me and you are survivors of domestic violence.
Mm.
And I want to thank you for sharing your story and having my listeners hear your side of your story. Domestic violence is not just physical, it's financial as well, it's mental, it's emotional. Uh, I want to ask you, Cynthia, if you don't mind sharing, was yours just physical or was it all of the above?
All of the above, all of the above. Controlling in different ways. And I didn't know that I was already a victim of abuse because I think that's a sign that it was my fault, that I provoked him to be like that. And that's why I stayed for 23 years. I didn't know. And I thought it was always my fault. That's why I'm being blamed. So again, the control um, comes from the verbal abuse, the emotional, and not even, there was a time that I've been part with my small group of choir group, and then I was being told by my husband, late husband, that why do you still have to continue joining that choir group? And you're now no longer taking care of the children, the family. So I think that's mental abuse, right? Emotional abuse, no? So I stayed away. I quit, even though my friends were telling me why. No, I just want to uh, focus on my children, my family. But it was put into my mind by my late husband that your priority is not I mean, you look at your priorities instead of the family. You're going out, but it's not every day.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes I need a break for myself, and I didn't know that I was already being controlled in that way.
And the reason that I went back into domestic violence is because I want my listeners to understand that look at where Cynthia is today. She's a podcaster, a motivational speaker, an international selling author. You know, is taking that self care for ourselves, even though we were knocked down and belittled by our spouses and partners. You know, it takes a lot for you to manifest and get out of that mindset and self doubt and all of that. And for all of my listeners out there, if you're feeling like you can't do it, you can do it. I'm sitting here, Cynthia's sitting here, and we've overcome it, and you can too. And the reason that I went back into domestic violence is because we don't speak of the other steps of domestic violence: financial, isolation, control, um, belittling, mentally breaking us down until believing that, oh no, we're supposed to be just the wife, clean the house, take care of the kids, and that's it. And then 20 years goes by. We're married 20 years. You were in it for 23 years, Cynthia. And we look at our lives and we say, well, what did we do?
Mhm.
What did we accomplish? So that's why when we get out of these situations, we push ourselves hard and we push our dreams to reality and we make those difference and we bring our voices to the table. So, Cynthia, I really want to thank you again for sharing your story, because you're going to impact someone's life. One of my listeners out there is going to hear your story and say, you know what, I can do this too. um, you know and domestic violence is hard to get out of. It is hard to overcome. Even once you're out of it, there's still years of damage that you have to overcome. I've been out of it for 18 years, and there's still little triggers that will set me back on a day and say, oh, I don't know if I can do this, right? Do you get those triggers, Cynthia?
Oh yes, oh yes. But whenever I look at my children, they are the ones that pushes me to move forward. It's for them. For me, I was able to. I don't want them to experience. I know they have experienced violence at home, but I want to change that image of what is life. Is it really that kind of life that that I should share to my children? The life I've had, they deserve to be happy, and I don't want them to be in that kind of situation.
Well, I want to really thank you for stepping up. It's not easy, and thank you for doing that. And I'm sure your children are very proud of you. Uh, as a mom, it's nice to see another mom, celebrate her children's wins, and share those wins, because they work hard too for it. And you know what? We sacrifice a lot for those wins to happen. So, you know, a simple thank you goes a long way. So remember that when we're thinking of our moms and our fathers as well, because there are incredible dads out there as well. But I want to lighten it up before we wrap up, because we're almost at the end here, Cynthia. And we went back into domestic violence, and domestic violence takes away our self cares as women and as men as well, who have been domestically violent. Um, so, what do you do for self care, Cynthia?
Oh, I go to the gym. I go to the gym every day, once a day for 6 days a week. I alternate. I go attend my Zumba class. I attend my body pump class. If I don't go to the gym, I make sure I walk. I go to the lake, and that gives me so much joy seeing nature. And I feel so blessed that God is taking care of us, all of us, with all these gifts which He has blessed us. And it's just, and another thing is the food I take. Now I'm very careful in terms of the food that I take. I used to eat Filipinos, we eat a lot of meat.
But you guys have good food. Yes, as Liz loves Filipino food.
but then actually it's not that I have to stay away sometimes and not that often. So it helps me in terms of my cholesterol level. I stop my taking my medication because I try to change my lifestyle. But I still take another medication, that's the high blood pressure. But now, with this, with what I'm doing, it's helping me. It's helping me, and I hang out with my friends because it is very important to hang out with the people that you love, the family members, your friends. As what I've mentioned, they gi- they give me so much joy, and it boosts my energy uh, to share that energy as well to other people, and it makes a difference. And another thing, read self-development books. Read, continue to learn, because so you'll get updated, you're up to date of what's going on. And try. There's no harm trying, because that's how you learn. If you experience failure, no problem, because failure is a stepping stone to success. That's how you learn from your failures. If you don't change, then nothing will happen. I always tell my other people, my clients, that opportunities. So when you try to overcome your fear, go out of your comfort zone, try, take action, because opportunities are actually at the borderline of your comfort zone. So that's it. And pray. That's the first thing that I always do. I pray in the morning, thanking God for more the opportunities that He will be sharing with me for that day. And then in the evening, thank you, Lord, for the wonderful day, for the lessons learned, so I may be able to apply it tomorrow or in the future. So just be grateful and be that's part of my self care. And if you could travel now, since I'm retired, I I also do this. If you could travel, when I was invited to speak in Paris and Toronto, I make sure that I try to hit two birds with one stone. So travel at the same time learning, because when you travel, you learn different cultures. You get to meet a lot of people, and that I value so much human connection. So I get that energy. I thought I was what's this, an introvert, but no, I discovered I'm an extrovert.
Well, it's like the reverse, right? Like when you were a little child, you were shy. Now it's like,
Yes,
what do you got for me? Like,
exactly. I don't know what happened.
it's called a growth mindset. We grow as we get older. Uh, so, Cynthia, before we wrap up, do you have any incredible events that are coming up that anybody can check out that you're a part
I
of?
just got back from I just had my talk in Paris and Toronto. So right now I just finished also my book talk at my parish and in our library. So right now my next my next lineup is to take care now of my mom. I'll be going to Chicago to have a retreat with my Dream to Rise Inner Circle, my mastermind group. We'll be going there December 19 to 22. And then after that, stay with my mom for until August 20 to take care of her. Because my project right now is to do some renovation at the basement of my sister's place, and then I'll be staying with her there for the next 3 months. And as I think I my sister needs a break, and she's been taking care of my mom for decades, and it's about time for me and my youngest sister to take our turn now. So now I would like to devote also um, taking care of my mom, but I will continue doing what I'm doing because this gives me so much joy and helping other people as well.
Well, it was a real pleasure having you, Cynthia, and I love our conversation. And we're gonna
Yes,
stay connected, and you just never know where we'll join each other in the future, right? Because you just
yes,
never know what Miss Liz is going to do next.
yes.
I will be back on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a returning guest, Newton Vanderiel. He'll be coming in and he'll be sharing book 2 of the Soul Sisters Adventures. It's a children's book, so we'll be talking about that. And again, thank you, Cynthia, for joining me. If you would like to know more about Cynthia, check out her website at www.dreamtorise.info, and you can get all of the good stuff all there. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you to the listening audience. And if you're watching a replay, please push hashtag replay and let me know where you're tuning in from so I can give you a shout out and say thank you for listening to Miss Liz. And I'll see everybody Thursday. And we'll do this all over again with a different TEA. And we'll see where that takes us in the conversation with Newton on Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you so much.